Yes, hi everyone. My name is Mustafa El Miloudi. You can call me Professor E. I am originally from Casablanca, Morocco. If you know what it is, it's like in northwest of Africa. Um, I hold a master's degree from Texas A&M in computer science, actually in business computer information systems. And then I have a second master's degree in marketing from Edinburgh Business School. And also I have an international business master's degree also. I'm currently also working on my doctoral program with Sam Houston in the field of instructional system design and technology. I'm almost done with the course stage, and I'm about, I think next semester, I will finish my research stage. Hopefully everything goes well. I'm going to be your instructor for this class, BCIS. So I've been teaching this class for so long. I got many students, especially at the high school level. I got many students certified as Microsoft Office specialists in all the 4 applications: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, I know like this summer semester is kind of comprehensive, but if you just take time to basically go over the materials, and especially watch the videos, because I try to put the most important thing in these videos. I don't cover the small things because that's something you can cover on your own. Like, for example, how to copy, paste, cut, this basic stuff. You can do it on. So if you watch the videos, I focused on the main concept, the one that most people have problems with. Okay. So we're going to be covering both, because remember, like, we have 2 textbooks. The first one is Computing Essentials, and we're going to cover very quick, because this is basically just a basic level. They don't expect you in this course to go deep. So as long as you know the most important thing, most of them are definitions, the difference between software and hardware, the difference between input devices and output devices, these kind of things, the definition of the internet, the web, different type of applications, software, system software. As long as you know the basic things, you should be fine. Even the type of question, they're not that deep. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over the slides very briefly, because there is you have access to the PowerPoint slides, but you also have access to the videos from the company who made this, the Seminet. If you check, I think probably, let me show it to you here. If you go to D2L, you're gonna find all this. So this is my own videos that you see on top. Guys, can you see the page? When I change screen, do you see everything?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because sometimes I forget and I change the screen, but it doesn't show on your end. So as you can see right here, if you go to Computing Essentials, you click on it, you're going to find all the 4 chapters. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then below them you have the videos. Some people, they like to listen, to watch the video rather than just going over the slides. So I posted both of them for your convenience. We're going to go over these 4 very quick, and then I will show you. We're going to practice some. It's like I put them in terms of questions, just to test your understanding, as you can see. So this is like basically all the 4 chapters combined, the most important questions. Okay, so we're going to go over them just to test your skills and your understanding about this. So the first chapter was very simple. As you can see, it says information technology, the internet, and you. So as you can see, this is what makes the information system. So when you hear information systems, most of the time we focus on the computer, right? But the computer does not work by itself. You need people, the user, to operate, to interact with the computer. You need certain procedures to follow, to go through. There is a software, and there is the hardware, and there is the data, and also there is the platform, the internet, that's going to make this happen. So all these 6 components, all of them together, they make the information systems. So we're going to cover each one of them in kind of detail, not very, detail, but it's just the most important thing. So the software, what is the software? The software is basically the invisible part of the computer. So there is the hardware, the one that you can basically touch, feel, and then the one that you are interacting with directly. But the software is the invisible, is nothing but a bunch of statements that you don't see. That's the software. So the combination of software and hardware, that's what makes the computer system. Okay. So as you can see right here, we have, and each one of them is a chapter by itself. So the first chapter basically is just introducing the main components, the main sections, and then with every chapter, like system software is a separate chapter, application software is a separate chapter, and so on. What's the difference between these two? The system software is basically the program that help us interact with the computer. Because when you have 2 people speaking 2 different languages, it's very hard for them to communicate, right? So you need someone in between. So maybe somebody, we have 2 people, one person speaks English, the other one speaks Spanish, and they don't speak any other language. It will be very hard for these 2 people to communicate. So you need somebody in the middle who can speak both languages, or at least translate from one to the other. So that's what the system software is. Like Windows, because the computer has a machine language, that's a different language. Humans, we speak different language. So basically the system software like Windows, Linux, and other softwares, so they are basically in between. They translate from the machine language to the human language and vice versa. And application software is the program that most of the time we use, because application software is a program that serves a specific task. For example, Microsoft Word, we don't use it all the time, only like if you want to type like an essay or a letter, anything that is a word processing, okay? Any text-based. So for example, if you want to write a cover letter, Microsoft Word would be appropriate. But if you want to give a presentation, most likely you're going to be using PowerPoint. Why? Because that's a separate task. So application software is for a specific task. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. I did explain a lot in detail, but basically that's what the main idea is. This is the different types of computer. So as you can see, we're going down from the most powerful computer called supercomputer. So only like a huge companies, maybe the government use this type of computers. So a normal person would never use this because it's too powerful. You don't really need that much power. The mainframe is in between, and also the mid-range is for servers. And this is the most frequently used, the most frequently you're going to be using is the personal computer, whether it's a desktop or laptop or all the different types of computers. So that's the one we use most frequently. Okay, so when you go up, the computer becomes more powerful. So these are types of personal computers, all of them. Okay, so and then we're going to be talking about the system unit. System unit, when you open the computer, like I'm talking about the the big box, the tower. When you open it, what do you see? You see a bunch of circuits, bunch of wires. So the whole thing is called system unit. So if you just buy a brand new computer, I'm talking about the desktop, not the laptop. So you have the monitor, and then next to it you have that big tower. So when you open it, all what you see is called system unit. So basically everything, all the components together connected is called system unit. And system unit is made of the CPU, is made of the motherboard, all the different components. And also you have the memory, all of this together make the computer system. Secondary storage, because when you are working on something and all of a sudden the power goes out, then everything that you save is gone unless you have secondary storage, like you save it permanently, whether in the hard disk inside the computer or in flash drive or any other way. And of course, the communication, because the computer by itself is not that useful by itself. Unless you can share the information with other computers, it's not that powerful. So the computer by itself is very limited. So the power of the computer, the usefulness of the computer is when you share it with, when you share resources, you share printer, you share information, you share files, you share all these resources. That's what makes the computer powerful. Okay. As you can see, because some of them, I'm sorry, if you have any questions anytime, please feel free to play. Remember, the stupid question is the one that you did not ask. I always say that to my students. Any questions? All right, so this is the system unit I was referring to. When you open the computer, the entire thing is called system unit. So you have the CPU, you have the motherboard, you have the video card, you have all kinds of stuff, you have the power. So all of this, the entire thing, the memory, because the memory is an important component, because without memory, what are you going to save? Even if you have the smartest kid in the universe, if you don't have a memory to save the computer, that smartness is not going to help you. If I ask you a question and then you cannot even hold or save that information, it's not useful. Okay, so all of these together are important. Input and output. Again, each one of them is a chapter by itself. But generally speaking, input device, we talk about input device. Input device is any device that we use to get the information inside the computer. For example, keyboard. What do we use the keyboard for? To get the info, to communicate with the computer, to tell the computer something. Whether we're using keyboard, the mouse, touchpad, we are using the what else? Microphone. All of these are called input devices. Now, the other way around, output devices is when the computer is trying to tell us something. So we're going to be using output devices like the printer, like the monitor, like the speaker, the audio is coming out. Okay, all of these are output devices. So just ask yourself, is the information going toward the computer or from the computer? It's if it's going toward from us, user, to the computer, that's input device. If it's the other way around, it's coming out after processing, then it's output device. Okay, so all of these are examples. As I said, they give a lot of explanation, but I just give you the summary of this. Now we're talking about the communication. As I said, the computer is not useful unless it is shared, unless it is connected with other computers. That's why we talked about the internet, talk about the network, talk about the modem, we talk about the communication devices. So here's the difference between the raw data that has no meaning, basically, just a bunch of numbers. So when these numbers connect them together and then you process them, then they become information. So information is a data that is processed that has a meaning, okay? So these are the different files that most of the time you're going to be interacting with. The document, whether it's Microsoft Word document or spreadsheet or presentation or database, okay? So for example, if I'm working on an essay or cover letter or resume, we are more likely to use a document, word processing document. If I'm dealing with numbers, let's say I want to calculate the average, tables and all that stuff, calculate the maximum, the minimum, and then, display all this information in a table, most likely it's going to be spreadsheet application, like a file. A database, if you are dealing with information, you want to keep track. Let's say a company wants to keep track of their employees, their names, their salaries, their addresses, and then their suppliers, all the information, and they want to put them together in a table. I want to make queries so they can search for specific information. Then it's going to be a database, because you are storing. Every time you are storing information, that's database. And of course, presentation is when you want to present the information in an attractive way, in organized fashion. So we use like PowerPoint or something similar. Okay, so and this is the connectivity, cloud computing. So basically this is everything that is with the internet. Internet went through many stages. And also, we're going to go to, there is a separate chapter for this. So I'm just kind of going over it very quickly. Cloud computing is basically, because a while ago, people, they used to do everything on your own. For example, if I want to save all the data I have to get a server, I have to buy all the infrastructure. Now it's not the case anymore. Why? Because there are other companies, they take care of that. You don't have to worry about that. For example, Amazon, AWS, all what they do, they have the infrastructure, they have the resources. So all what you can do, you rent it from them. Okay, they will lend it to you and they will charge you based on how much or how long you've been using this. It's like you are renting an apartment. That's basically what you are doing it with the infrastructures, with the huge computers. And it makes sense. Why do I have to buy a huge, and maintain also a huge infrastructure if I don't need it for a long period of time? I just need it for short period of time, and I have to be responsible for maintaining. That's going to cost me a lot. It's better, it's better to basically rent it from Amazon or Google, and then they would charge you only for what you use. That's more efficient, that's more effective. So that's where everything is going. Now, talking about the Internet of Things, that means everything is based on the internet. Like, for example, I'm sure like at home, you are using the AC and the AC is connected to the internet, like the thermostat is connected. Your TV is connected to the internet. That's what they call it, the Internet of Things. That means everything, even your car, whether you are aware of it or not, a small devices, the mirror is connected to the internet, the engine, everything is connected. Of course, they in a different ways, but still it is internet based. So this is basically the different, what do you call it, the career IT in this area. So that's chapter 1. And chapter 2 basically is continuation, talk about the internet, the web. So that's why I'm not going to go over this, because that's something that you can go over it by yourself. But I will basically, touch on the most important thing. This is like where the internet came from. Initially, internet was the first experience, or the first time the internet was basically discovered or invented. It was like in the Department of Defense. They were working on a project to basically connect some major universities. So try to find a way for these universities to communicate with each other. And that's how it started, 1969. And then from there, it was spread all over the world, of course, through different stages. But that's how it started. It started from the Department of Defense and then starts, getting bigger and bigger and more widespread. As you can see, this is the different stages. Web 1.0 was basically, if you remember, I'm not sure if you remember, but I definitely remember the first time the internet came out, when we started using like Google. Even before Google was Alta Vista, was Yahoo, and then it was only for searching. There was no social media, there was no images, only the text base. So that's called it 1.0, it's just for searching purposes. And then Web 2.0, we have the social media like Facebook, and then I remember one is called, was it High Five or something? I don't know, but it was different because at that time it was like just the beginning of social media. 3.0, they personalize, they customize, which means like now the emails, it's not sent, or maybe marketing messages, they're not sent to everybody. It's customized to a person. That's how, that's how personal it became. So it becomes more developed, more advanced. And then Web 4.0, it was way advanced with the mobile application, mobile devices that we see now. And it's still developing. So this is the different ways we use the internet. It's maybe more than that, but this is the most frequently uses of the internet. We use it to communicate, we use it to do shopping, we use it to do searching, And we use it also to take courses like what you are doing right now. We're taking course online. That's education thanks to the internet. And of course, online entertainment with Netflix, with all kind of programs. So this is the basic things about the internet access provider. So what is ISP? ISP is nothing but a company that has the internet access. It has the infrastructure, and then they provide this access to the internet to us, to you and me. And then, of course, you have to pay for that on a monthly basis, but they already have the infrastructure and they basically sell it to you for as long as you are using it. So we call them internet service provider, like Verizon, like T-Mobile, AT&T, and stuff like that. The browser is the program that allow us to access the different web resources. We call them browser, like Explorer, like Chrome, Google Chrome, and all of these are called browsers. And then for you to access a specific site or page, you need the address. That's why I call it uniform resource locator. So that's the address. And the address is made of different parts. We have the protocol, we have the domain name. So as you can see right here in the example. So what is the protocol? Protocol is just a set of rules that allow the information to go through from the sender to the receiver. Because if there is no communication, if there is no rules, then it will be chaos, okay? First one, we don't know how much information you have. We don't know how fast it's going to be, okay? And then how we make sure that we get the confirmation that the information was sent, was received. All of this as protocol. That means a bunch of rules that, that the different entities that are involved in the internet, they have to agree and then abide by. So this is the difference. You can see these programs are important. JavaScript, PHP, CSS, HTML, all of this, the combination of all of this allow us, make it easy for us to enjoy that internet experience. So you can see the website, you can see in an interactive way, you can communicate, you can interact with the page, not just look, but you can interact, you can send message, you can receive, you can fill out forms and stuff like that. So the combination of all of this, that's what makes it possible to access pages in an interactive way. And then, of course, utilities is all the programs that help us take care of the small things, because you cannot expect that everything is going to go as expected. Sometimes you have problems, you have a lot of issues. So utilities allow us to basically to overcome these problems, whether it's for when you are searching or when you are having backup, for different reasons. So utilities is for us to make sure that any problems are taken care of. Filters, of course, there are sort of, like, for example, the school district, they have filters because they cannot accept any information. They have kids, they have to make sure they know what kind of information are received, what the students are allowed to see, what they are not allowed to see. So all of this is, and then when you are accessing the information, sometimes you want to copy, send files. So you need this type of utility like file transfer. So there is a program in place that makes it possible so you can copy and receive files from all over the place. And then again, as I said, each one of them are a separate chapter. So, and this is like the different ways, blog, and then we have the mini blog or micro blog. As you can see, micro blog is when it is limited in size, like, that X or Twitter, for example, is an example, TikTok. A blog is, is like when someone, I'm sure like you already know this, I'm just, kind of remind you of this, but I'm sure like this basic terms are familiar to you because you hear them on a regular basis. Podcasts, usually it's audio that people listen to. Okay, wiki is for people to access and modify and change and add, like Wikipedia, for example. Anybody can, can add and change. Okay. And then also we have this. As I said, all of this should make sense to you because you are dealing with this on a regular basis. All right. So this is an electronic commerce, which means like the ability to buy and sell over the internet. And then we have different markets. So for example, Amazon, you have business to consumer. Or sometimes you have consumer to consumer. You are selling to another individual just like you. Or sometimes between businesses, like wholesale to retailers. They're both businesses, but it's different markets. I'm sure, like I'm gonna basically give you the chance to practice all of this. So that's why I put that file at the end. Okay. So we talked about cloud computing. As you can see, sometimes we repeat the same terms because each one of them will be in a separate chapter. Okay, and then the other two is repetition. Remember I told you about the system software and application software. So system software is like basically like Windows, like iOS. They allow us to interact with the computer, that allow us to manage the resources, the computer resources. And for application software is the one that we're going to be focusing on most of the time. We're going to be covering Microsoft Word, that's application software. Microsoft Excel is an application software. Access is Microsoft application as an application software, and so on. So this is the same thing. That's why I'm going to go over this and see if you are able to answer at least most of the questions. So question number one, all of the following, I'm going to use the highlighter for this. All of the following are part of the information system. We'll talk about the information system, all the different components like people, procedure, hardware, software. Which one is not part of it? People, software, hardware, government regulation, procedure.
I think government regulations?
Yes, you got it. But sometimes, most of the time, just common sense, can tell that it is different. Question number two, blank, consists of step-by-step instructions that tell the computer what to do. There are instructions, like statement that tells the computer what to do. Is it hardware, data, CPU? CPU is the brain of the computer, and program is. So which one do you think is the answer?
I believe program.
Yes, it is. Program, that's the definition of program. It's a step-by-step telling the computer what to do. Number three, the raw and processed facts, including text, numbers, images, and sounds, are called information. Is that true? Remember, we have information and what's the other one? Information has a meaning. Which one does not have a meaning? We call it data. So data is just general bunch of elements. It could be text, it could be images, but they don't necessarily have a meaning. Okay. But information, when it said, for example, that the salary average in Texas for teachers is 65,000, that's an information. But if I give you a bunch of numbers that have no explanation, that's data. Okay. So this one is not information, it's false because that's for data. Data are raw and processed facts. Number four, software is the physical aspect of the computer. That means the tangible, like the thing that you can touch. Is it true or not? Is it software?
I think false.
False, because that's the hardware, which is the physical. Software is the invisible part of it. Very good. Number five, So blank enables the application software to interact with the computer hardware. Which one? That's like, we talked about it has to be in the middle. That's going to translate from one to the other. Which one?
Yeah, I agree with Jack. I think it's A.
Very good. System software. Oh, I was typing. I didn't see that. Okay, I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't see because I'm just focusing on this file. So I don't know if you are using the chat or not. So that's good. As you can see, most okay, I got you. So system software, definitely. Number 6, all of the following are examples of application software except.
Yeah, I think C as well.
Very good. See that? Operating system like Windows, that's different. Everything else is application software, and that's the one we're going to be covering in detail. Number 7, blank are the least powerful computers, yet the most widely used and fastest growing type. Very good. Personal computer. Now I saw you. Jack, thank you. Number 8, all of the following are types of personal computers except. Which one is not? Tablet, desktop, laptop, wearable. C, very good. Mainframe. So whoever answered the question, I'm gonna. Okay, number 9, blank is a container that houses most of the electronic components that make up a computer system. When you open the computer, that's what you see.
The system unit?
Very good. System unit. Number 10, all of the following are input devices except, remember, input devices, it goes through the computer. That means we get the information inside the computer. C, very good, because monitor get the information out. Everything else, we use it to get the information. I'm sorry here. Okay, I need to. So it's monitor. All right, because monitor is an output device. Number 11, all of the following are output devices except. That means we get the computer out. F, very good. Microphone is an input. Very good. I'm glad you find it easier. All right. Okay, so microphone, because what do we use the microphone for? To get the information inside the computer, not the other way around. Well, secondary storage, secondary or permanent storage, holds data and programs even after electric power is turned off. All of the following are examples of secondary storage, except what? That means we save it. Very good, Jack. E, RAM is only for temporary. RAM is like when you save, as long as the power is on, it's safe. Once there is a problem and then the power goes out, then whatever you have in RAM is gone. So that's not a permanent, that's not. Everything else, you save it permanent. Number 13, IT manager wants to keep track of his employees and store their information in tables and make queries. What type of files he or she will be more likely to use?
Maybe spreadsheet file?
Spreadsheet file. Okay, if I stopped after information, store information in tables, I would say, okay, it's 50-50. It could be a spreadsheet or database. But since I added the make queries, then it has to be database.
Okay.
Because make queries is when you search for specific information. Excel cannot help you with that. Database will help you find, because queries means searching for specific information within the entire database. So that's the reason I added that, because otherwise, both of them do the same thing, right? Spreadsheet, you put tables and then you put information, and that's the reason I added that part. So that's database. Number 14, blank, is the continuing development of the internet that allows everyday objects embedded with electronic devices to send and receive data over the internet. Which one is the definition? A, Remember, embedded with electron, that means everything is there.
Oh, IoT.
IoT, very good. And remember, we talked about Internet of Things. It's almost everywhere. You have it in your car, you have it in your house, you have it almost everywhere. But that's okay because network is kind of general, but here this is specific. I mean, I don't blame you for choosing network because network is an internet, right? It's just I'm being more specific. That's the reason. So it's very close. I mean, it's overlaps. Number 15, cloud computing uses the internet and the web to shift many computer activities from the user's computer to computers on the internet. Is that true?
I think yes. I think that's true.
Yes, because that's what cloud. Remember like Amazon, like AWS? We don't have to have even computers and servers and then all this, a huge, they take care of that. And then they charge you for using them. So that's a true statement, definitely. Number 16, blank, is the capability of your personal computer to share information with other computers. C, connectivity, that's basic. C, share, when you say share, connectivity. So sometimes you have to look for the kind of keyword here. Number 17, blank, provides multimedia interface to the numerous resources available on the internet. That's the interface. That means we use it. That's the interaction between the user and the internet.
Oh, yeah, web.
Web, very good, excellent. All right, number 18, blank is defined by the use of social media. Remember we talked about different stages?
I think it was
web?
I think it was 2.0.
Yes, because the first one is only for searching. And then the second one, that's when Facebook came to exist and stuff like that. Number 19, blank is defined by the use of mobile tools that provides new sources of information.
Maybe 1.0.
Now 1.0 is for searching. This is way, way advanced because mobile tools, that means we are using the smartphones, and then we have, everything can be done in your phone. So that's way, way advanced. 1.0, there was no images, there was no videos, it's just searching.
Okay. I think
yeah.
Maybe what Jack said, 3.0.
It was going to be 3.0 or 4.0. Yeah, it's going to be 3.0 because 4.0 is still developing. It's not even complete. So number 20, all of the following are common uses of the internet and the web, except C, yes, construction. I mean, but it's far away from the. I mean, they may use it for construction, I don't know, but it's more likely but to be communication, searching, shopping, and education. Number 21, browsers are programs that provide access to web resources. Is that a true statement?
Say yes.
Yes. Yeah, just okay, next one, number 22. URL stands for what?
The Uniform Resource Locator.
Yeah, you got it. Very good. So sometimes we know the acronym, right? But sometimes we don't remember what it stands for. Number 23, blank are rules for exchanging data between computers. See, yes, Jack. Protocol are nothing but rules that everybody has to abide by for the for the transmission of data goes smoothly. 24, blank is a company that provides the user access to the internet, such as T-Mobile, AT&T, and ISP. 25, all of the following are technologies used to provide highly interactive and animated website. It helps us get in the best of the internet. So all of the following technology used to provide, and then I forgot to put, I think, except, I'm sorry. All
Oh,
of
so
the following, so I forgot except.
I think the ones including would be JavaScript, PHP, and CSS.
Yeah, so the ISP is not one of them, yes. I just forgot to put except.
Oh.
26, blank allows you to efficiently copy files to and from your computer across the internet. Which one does that?
B, I think.
B, no, HTTP is that for the protocol. Yeah, it's A, F, because F stands for file. File transfer protocol.
Okay.
Yeah, 27, all of the following are examples of microblogging sites. Again, microblogging is, it has limited, like there's a size that you cannot exceed, for example, 160 characters and stuff like that. That has limited. So which one? All of them except one. See, YouTube is not one of them. Yes. All of them are micro. We call them microblog, except YouTube. 28, blank are audio programs delivered over the internet.
Blogs?
Blogs are not necessarily audio. They can be just websites, right? But which one are audio? And then, Jack, you're right. It's podcast. It's mainly audio. That's why you see like the microphone in front of them, and they just, talk about different stuff. Podcast. 29, Wiki is a website designed to allow visitors to use their browser to add, change, edit, delete. Is it true? False? And that's true, Jack. That's true. Number 30, there are two types of email system, client-based email system and save. No, you are close. It's B. Now, remember in Outlook, there are two different ways you can access your email, right? Either you have to have the Outlook program installed. This is called client-based. Or you don't have to have anything installed. You can go to the website, and then you access your email by using the web. So it's called web-based. So web-based, you don't need to install anything. Like for example, Outlook, sometimes I don't even have to install it. I mean, it's easy to have that program because you don't. But sometimes, what about if you are far away? You have, like for example, like let's say you are using somebody else's computer, then they may not have that program installed. So web-based sometimes is useful. 31, all of the following are consideration for evaluating website content, like to basically to assess the website if it's good or bad. Which criteria do you use?
Location?
I'm sorry, all of them except one. Which one? Yeah, we don't care about the location. Yeah, the accuracy of the information, the authority, where it's coming from, objectivity, and the currency. Currency, that means it's current, okay? So location is not one of them. All right, how is everything going so far?
Pretty good.
It's not that bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
How far getting there?
Are these questions for like the exam on like the 1 to 4?
I got this one from the info. I made them myself, but for using the textbook.
Oh, okay.
So it's not from anywhere else. I made them because I thought maybe that's an easy way for you guys to see.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Just
Yeah.
study.
Okay. I'm just gonna select one of the four. Okay, I'm gonna try. Oh, okay, guys, it's location, it's not currency. I'm gonna try. What about people cannot see this? So I just want to select at least like, that's it, that's enough. Number 32, blank is the buying and selling of goods over the internet. What do we call this? C, and that's correct, electronic commerce. Number 33, Google Docs is an example of what type of cloud computing? Is it public? That means open to everybody, no restrictions. Private, only to a certain organization. And hybrid, they have some public, others are private. So Google Docs, do you think it's public, private, hybrid?
I believe it's public.
Public, because it's open to everybody. Yeah, hardware and software that the user does not directly interact with is called what? Back end, front end, full stack, and that's back end, yes. Front end, the user can interact with. 25, electronic commerce involving individuals selling to individuals is called what?
Consumer to consumer.
Yes, C2C. Number 36, funded by the US Department of Defense, blank was a pioneering long-haul network that served as a test bed for internetworking technologies. No, LAN is a network. I just put it there. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. So LAN is like a local area network, and DSL is just is just a type of getting an internet, DSL. So it's ARPANET. ARPANET basically is the company that started the internet. I think in 1969, I think. So I just put that. The rest I just use them randomly. Number 37, blank is the portion of the application that allows you to control and to interact with the program. C, that's user interface. Whenever you see interface, that means that's basically the intermediation between you and the machine. 38, which of the following is not an example of application software?
Windows?
Windows, yeah. Windows is, what do we call? We have application software. What's the other one? System software. So we call the other one system software. Application software is only for specific tasks. So Windows is not an application. Number 39, which of the following is an example of database application? Access, we're gonna talk about this. That's, I think, week number 4, I guess. Program that organizes, analyzes, and graphs numerical data. So we are more likely to use which one?
I believe spreadsheet.
Yes, like Excel. Very good. Number 41, system software, which is the other type, is made of the following except, that means all of them together, they form for the system. E, that's good, because word processor has nothing to do with this. We just talked about it. It's an application software, so it has nothing to do with this. 42, all of the following are functions of operating systems except. That means what the operation does. Of course, it does not edit images. It manages your resources, it gives you the interface, and it runs your application, but it does not edit images. They have other application software that do this kind of things. The following are all categories of operating system. Of course, this is something in the PowerPoint and the textbook, so I just put like the most important thing here. So we have 3 types of operating system. Which one is not one of them? Yes, cloud. You got it. You guessed, and then you guessed correctly. Cloud. Okay, all of these embedded operating system. You know what embedded? What do you call it embedded? That when you have like operating system in your phone, it's embedded within your phone. Okay, you cannot see it. It's not like standalone. It's like when you have it in a laptop or on a desktop. It is installed separately. But in the phone, you cannot even see where that operating system is. It's it's hidden somewhere. And then of course, network is at the higher level. It is cloud. Cloud, there is no cloud OS. 44, the most popular mobile operating system are what? When you say mobile, that means you are using it in your phones.
Yeah, what Jack said.
Very good. Android, I'm sure. That's why I say most of them, if you are at least familiar with the basic time, you should be able to figure it out. Number 45, that's the last two questions. Blank is when a single computer can support. Sometimes, let's say you have a computer, let's say like the one I have, Windows-based. And let's say I want to do something that is not supported by Mac. What option do I have? And I don't have a Mac computer. What option do I have? If I have only Windows-based, but I want to use something that is, that is not supported by Mac. What other option? A, very good. It's called virtualization. I taught a class, it's a mobile application, and then we use this for virtualization. Basically, it's a program that that allows you to deal with the program that's not even supported by Windows, but as a separate, as a separate operating system. So we call it virtualization. So that's basically when you have more than one operating system in the same machine. Okay. 46. Blank are specialized programs designed to make computing easier. Example, antivirus, search, backup. What do we call them? And that's correct, Jack. C, we call them utilities. Anything to make your experience, smooth, with no problems, with no issues, we call them utilities. All right, so this is basically all the 4 chapters. I tried my best to summarize. I'm not going to say they include every single thing, but they include the majority of things, and you should have no problem if you take the exam. Now, do you want me to go over Microsoft Word or leave it to another time? It's up to you. I just want to go over. I already posted like 4 videos or 3 videos at least? I think I have at least 3. Let me check. So I put here 3 videos, as you can see right here, about Microsoft Word. So let me just spend probably maybe at least 10 minutes about Microsoft Word. And I'm going to use this file just to show you the most frequently features. It may not be enough because anyway, the Microsoft exam is not due this week. The only thing that is due is the Computing Essentials Chapter 1 to 4. So you are fine. Okay. I'm just going to share my Microsoft Word. So it's right here. So for example, this is Microsoft Word. As you can see, File. Usually if you want to open a new, click New. Either you're going to get a blank document from scratch, or you can pick one of the templates. For example, if you want to create a brochure, there are some templates that's already made. You just have to make some changes. There is no reason for you to start from scratch, okay? And then to open an existing one, and then you go to a browser, and then you specify the location, and then you can open an existing one. Also save as and stuff like that. And then I'm sure like you are familiar with most of the features. I'm just going over this. So home, basically, this is what the most frequently used features are here. If you are dealing with one word, like for example, let's say the purpose right here. I'm going to select by just double clicking. If you want to change anything about purpose, then it's better to go here. If you don't find it here, because this is a kind of shortcut, like you can change the font type, and then font size, and then as you can see right here, you can increase the font size different way. You can make it bold, italic, underline, and then you can change the font color right here. But if you don't find anything, just go right here, and then you can change. As you can see, all the style, the size. You can even make it hidden. If you click right here, then the purpose will be hidden. That means it's there, but we cannot see it. Sometimes you want to use strike through. It shows you here what's going to look like. So everything is in here. Painter is also advanced. A character spacing. That means you want to increase the space between the letters so you can expand it. Expand, and this is how many points. Okay, so all of these are. Can you see like now? Why it's not there anymore? Because I checked hidden. So if you want to get it back, you just have to uncheck this. Of course, it has to be selected and then uncheck. And then you can see. Okay, now what about if you are dealing with the paragraph? If you are doing the paragraph, let's say you want to select the whole thing. Now you go to paragraph, not font, because we're dealing with the entire paragraph. So you can left align, which is by default the case. Now this is if you want to right align it to the right. See? Now this is center, and this is justify. Justify means you're going to do it on both sides, and if there is any space, leave it in the middle, or something like this, for whatever reason. But the default one is left align. And of course, you can use the, if you need more, then you go to paragraph, and then you can change the line spacing. Maybe I can put double space or 1.5. And then let's say space before. I usually use this for each paragraph. So for example, this paragraph, I want it to be separate. So you may want to increase the space after. Like after, maybe I'm going to put 18, for example. See, I have more space. So this way it's easier to tell where is the first one, where is the second one, and so on like this. So this one, you can do the same thing, 18 or 12. Okay. Now, sometimes you don't want to use one. Sometimes you want to use, like 2 columns. You can do that. You can select the entire thing. Then you go to layouts. Can you see like right here? You can choose 2. Like it's like a newspaper kind of style or brochure. So you can have both right here. See that? Okay. So everything in here. Sometimes you want to leave a break. So let's say you want to leave a space. You can do that. So let me go back to where it was. And then let's say after maybe the first 2 paragraphs, and I will create a page break. So there are different ways. You can either go to break and then page break. Okay. So basically it gives more space. Or you can use insert and then also break. Okay, page break. So sometimes, most of the time, you have more than one way. And also there is a shortcut. I think it's Control, Enter, Control, I think, for page break. But this is the most common. Now I can also use a border. Let's say I want the first paragraph is important for me. I can just go to right here, border, and then go to border and shading. So let's say I want to make it like a box so everybody can see it. And I want a certain style, this one. So click OK. So if you want it to stand out. Now, what about if I want the whole thing? Like a page border, you can go to the same place. Same place, I'm sorry, here. And then you can, instead of going to the border here, go to the page border. And then you can pick something in here. And this one, for example. So that's going to be around the entire document. See that? So you can see here, and then also if you want to change the style. So let's say, for example, this, I want to change the style to something Verdana, for example. And I want to change the color to this. And then also I want to make it bold. I want to italic, whatever, and then center. I made many changes in here. What about if you want to copy all these changes with one click? Now we use this guy right here. It's called Format Painter. It saves you a lot of time. So for example, again, I want to do it for this. So it's selected. You click on this Format Painter, and then you can select anything that you select is going to be, it's going to apply. So let's say I want to apply it to this one right here, for example. See, everything that took effect or that's applied to this will be applied to this. It doesn't matter how many, even if you have 20 changes, it will be. And then sometimes you want to change, let's say, I don't know, creative. I want to change this one. You can either go to review, you can go to thesaurus, and then change the name to something else. So maybe like you want to change it, you want to use a synonym or something, or something similar. Trying to move this one away from. Oh. Stuck it there. There we go. So I got this one. I want to change it. So the first thing I need to select, and then you pick anything you want. Let's say creative, I don't know, innovative or something, original, and then you just click insert, and that's going to change that. Now, what about if you want to change something, but you want to change it all over the document? So let's say, for example, newsletter. For example, and I want to change every time I see newsletter, I want to change it. So what you can do, you can go to find and replace. That means every time you find newsletter, let's change it to brochure, for example. I'm just going to give you an example. Of course, who's going to do that? But replace all. So every time throughout the entire document, it will look 13 times with one click. So that's a very powerful one, especially when you have an acronym. Let's say you have Master of Business Administration, you want to change it to MBA. You have to change it for each one of them. It's going to take forever. So this is a very powerful. So as you can see right here, this is the bullet. I'm sure you know how to do that. So I'm not going to explain something that's, this is very useful because sometimes you want to see what are the, can you see like the marker right here? It show and hide. It tells me if there is anything. Remember that page break? It shows me right here. So all the different features that are hidden, now I can see. I hit the enter. Every time I hit the enter key, you see this mark. Page break or anything, any kind of a section break is already here, and so on. So this one tells me like what kind of features are. This is indent, increase indent. What else? So your word arts, okay? So you're gonna go insert, all of this word arts. So pick anything. I'm sure like you know how to do this. So you pick this side, and I want to put it here. So this is my brochure, and of course you move it anywhere you want. Usually you have it on top. I'm just going to put it anywhere I have space. See? And then you can pick anything. Also, a very powerful tool is the header and footer. So sometimes you want to put your basic information here. Of course, this is covering so I'm going to delete that because it's covering here. You may not see it. So I'm going to get rid of this this border. Okay, so I'm going to go to, I'm sorry, where's the border? So get rid of this border. So page border, put none. So this way it will be removed. And now I can use the header and footer. So I'm going to go insert and then header. So I can use this one and the different types. So I can put here for so I can put my my name. Okay, dates. Okay, 5, and 2, oh, those 6 already. For example, you can use also the footer. You can also the page number. So you can, to close it, you just click right here, and it's there. And whatever you have in here is going to show on every single page. Usually you put your the title, maybe your name, the date, and stuff like that. And the footer also at the bottom, and then have the page number. So maybe you want to start from the bottom. Depends. You want to do bottom, okay, left, center, or right. So I'm just going to use left, for example. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or you can start from a specific page, whatever you like. Okay. What else? Tables. Okay, let's go. How do we create tables? So very simple, because just common sense. Insert table. So either you're gonna do it this way and you specify how many, or you can just pick whatever you like. So 5 columns or 2. So let's say yes. And then of course you can resize it if you want to. So let's say here, teachers, okay, okay, email, and then conference. Okay, you can choose any style you like, as if from here, the table design, you can pick any style you like. You can add more. Easy way, you just hit the tab key, and then you can add as many as you want. Or you can either select, or you just put the cursor anywhere in here. Let's say you want to put it like in between these two. So you have table layout, and then you can pick insert, row above or below. Now, if you are talking about the columns, make sure you select so the program knows that you are dealing with columns now. Insert right or insert left. See that? If you want to delete or you want to merge, let's say the last one, you want to merge it. Again, you go to the same place and then merge. See, that becomes like one cell. Okay, so this is basic. Here, like if you want to control the height, the width, or you're going to distribute the rows like in the same way, distribute the columns. So all of this, I'll just go to this table layout or table design. All the information are here. Okay, so it should be no problem. Okay. So this references, we'll talk probably in a separate. So this is basically if you have a research paper, and then you have to put citation and then the references, maybe like and then how to track changes. Like let's say you want to track all the changes in here. Okay, like let's say your teacher, you submitted an essay and he wants to track the changes, and then it's going to give you some feedback, and then either you're going to agree or you don't agree, either accept or reject. So we'll talk about this, and then he's going to add comments in here. Look, new comments. For example, this one right here, you add new comments, and then you say, okay, first name and last name, for example. And then you click this. All right. So maybe like we need more time about this, but I just want to make sure that you are familiar with this basic things. Okay, any questions? And then please make sure you watch, because I put some 3 videos here and I picked the most important concepts. Like for example, right here, I talked about, and I put the changes here, like if you run the, so you're gonna see that it covers all the most important things, and I put the changes are being made. So please take time to watch this. So that's going to be very helpful. And as you can see right here, This one talks about the tables, talks about this one about mail merge. Mail merge is when you have a document and you have a database and you want to combine them. Let's say you want to send a cover letter to 15 employers. So do you have to do one for each? You don't have to. Just get the data, the database of your employee, like their information, their address, their email, phone number, and then the document is not going to change, assuming you are sending for the same position, a cover letter or whatever. So, and then you can combine them. So if you watch this, it talks about the mail merge. How do we combine? So you don't have to do it for each one of them. The program will take care of that. Just tell the program what is the database. You can get it in Excel or Access, and then get the documents, cover letter in Microsoft Word, combine them, and then you should be good to go. So take time to watch these 3. And then next week, if we have more time, so we're gonna go over some stuff before we start the next application, which is Excel. Any questions?
No, not anything so far.
Does this make sense? Was I going like too fast?
No, you were fine. Yeah, everything made sense on here. You helped out a lot just so we can
All right.
understand more.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time. Okay, thank you, Jack. So, because I know like many of the features that you already know, because it's not the first time that you're going to be using Microsoft Word. So maybe
Yeah.
like only certain things that you need to pay attention to. But like I would say, probably at least 80% is just common sense because it's something that you are familiar with. Especially
Yeah.
Microsoft Word, we use it. Maybe Access, you don't use it a lot. Probably some of you probably never used it. Excel sometimes, the table, the basic stuff. So maybe we can spend more time with Excel and Access. PowerPoint, definitely. How many times you gave presentation, like in your high school, middle school? So it's something that you should be familiar with, but still we're gonna spend some time doing that. So as I said, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm gonna post this video in D2L for anybody to see. So I am hoping that you find it useful. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.